Tornado-like winds. How long do you think that lasted at your location? All right, I don't know if Chris is able to hear us right now. We'll get back to him coming up here in just a moment. Let's take a look at what happened earlier today, and this has been an historic storm. We have not seen a storm like this in the northwest part of Florida in the record, making landfall at 12:30 Central Time as a nearly Category 5 storm, 1 mile per hour shy of that. The pressure was 919. That makes it number 3 on the list of the most intense landfalls in U.S. history. Unbelievable. And again, the strongest storm that has ever hit the Florida Panhandle. Right now, a Category 1 hurricane, winds of 85 miles per hour. This is the brand new advisory from the National Hurricane Center. It's moving northeast now at 17 miles per hour. So it is picking up forward speed. Still a very serious wind threat and an inland flooding threat as well. And that's going to be coming right up through the eastern part of Georgia and into the Carolinas. So you've got a large area of tropical storm force winds across much of South Georgia, still going on in Florida. And then the hurricane force winds in that smaller circle right around the eye wall. And that's where the hurricane warnings are in effect. They extend well up into central parts of Georgia, and tropical storm warnings all the way up into the eastern part of the Carolinas, into North Carolina as well. There's a look at the current radar picture, and let's take a look at some of the winds. They are still very strong. We got a gust in Albany to 70 miles per hour, 47 miles per hour in Cordele, 35 miles per hour in Macon. So we are going to see widespread tree damage along the path of this core of that eye wall as it continues to move out to the northeast. Farther to the north, winds now gusting to 30 miles per hour in Atlanta and gusting to 23 in Augusta, but it's going to get a lot stronger going through the night tonight. This is the model forecast showing you winds gusting 40 to 50 miles per hour here in the next few hours, 50 to 60 miles per hour in Columbia tomorrow morning. So a very tough start tomorrow morning as that core comes through. And then into Raleigh, 40 to 50 going into tomorrow afternoon. And then look at this. By tomorrow evening, 10 o'clock, winds gusting 50 to 60 miles per hour in Raleigh. So this thing is going to continue to pack a punch even as it moves up into the Carolinas. We are looking for widespread power outages across parts of eastern North and South Carolina, southeast Georgia. Of course, the extreme power outages, we've got that already, northwest Florida and parts of southwest Georgia. Now, on top of that, we're looking at a flash flood risk. There's a flash flood warning in Macon, in Schley, and Sumter counties. That's going until 3 o'clock in the morning. The rainfall rates in this eye wall here on the order of 2 to 3 inches per hour. And that flash flood threat is going to be lifting up and into the Carolinas going into the day tomorrow. That's early tomorrow morning. And then into the middle of the day, we see that moving up into Raleigh and also into Charlotte. So we've got a swath of very heavy rain on the way. This is 3 inches plus in yellow, and then 5 inches plus in that orange coloring there. So some spots getting quite a bit of rain. And these are some of the very same areas that were hit so hard by Matthew not that long ago, by Florence not that long ago. So we're looking at a very serious rainfall flooding threat across the central part of North Carolina and up into southeast Virginia as well. All right, we want to go now to Tevin Wooten. He is live in Tallahassee. And Tevin, we talked yesterday about all the trees in the area. I saw some of the photos coming out of Tallahassee, and it looks like there has been widespread tree damage there in Tallahassee.
Yeah, Carl, it's very early to tell because the crews have been having some difficulty getting out here because the winds are still gusting around 30 to 40 miles an hour. And so for that reason, they can't come out because they do not want to put themselves in harm's way. However, when you do get winds that gust that high, this is what can happen here. You get trees that come down. They're on top of power lines there. And that is starting to add up very quickly when we talk about the power outages. In fact, about 96,000 people in Tallahassee without power at the latest estimate. One of those is John Shaw, a lifelong resident here, born and raised in Tallahassee. John, thanks for joining us. You yourself, without power, you decided to walk around your old neighborhood.
Yeah. I thought, it's actually very beautiful out in a kind of chaotic way. But, I don't live far, so I just kind of carefully walked out here and just kind of surveying the damage,
And what have you found so far?
A lot of downed trees, no lights really. My understanding is most of the city's without power, which is not surprising. It's a very, very strong hurricane.
Yeah, you've got those tall canopy oaks and the tall pine trees, and they're beautiful until they come down, and then your power is out. And you yourself were telling me that it actually did a number on your house, or at least your electrical box.
Yeah. Well, a limb fell right on the line in my front yard, and it happened to just tear the mast right out from the side of the house at about a 90-degree angle. So I imagine I'll be out without power for a little while.
And you can kind of estimate that because this isn't your first rodeo.
Yes.
2016, Hurricane Hermine, the storm of reference for a lot of people, 9 days.
Yeah, I was without for 9 days. Definitely did not anticipate being out for that long. And when the power went out today, I kind of got a quick PTSD, wondering how long it's going to be. But my understanding is the city's doing a lot better job of kind of covering their bases now. So we'll see.
And so I'm sure you prepared or you learned a lesson from Hermine. Is there anything that you did differently this time around?
Not particularly. First and foremost, I parked my very beautiful 1986 Pontiac Firebird in the downtown parking garage, which is free if anyone during a hurricane. They do allow you to park down there to store your car. I had a lot of non-perishable items from last hurricane, so I was pretty well prepared this time around as well. And so just looking to kind of continue riding it out here.
As far as you said you walked over here, so you did not drive, which is good. What do you want to tell other people that are watching at home and they're thinking, oh, it's not raining anymore, it's safe to come out? You sort of did so a little bit more cautiously than hopping in the car.
Yeah, absolutely. If you're going to walk outside, just watch where you're stepping. I certainly, can't advise anyone to do so. Right. It's at your own risk. But, say hey to your neighbors if they're out. And we're a community here. We're here to help each other. So if someone needs your help, definitely give them a helping hand.
During the height of the storm, Tallahassee sort of got sideswiped by a lot of the rainfall. What was going through your mind? Because you saw that it was a Category 4 storm at landfall very quickly.
It was scary. I mean, that my house was getting pelted by debris, and my cat, of course, was going crazy, freaking out. It's very scary when you hear even smaller limbs hitting your house. It's surprising, and so you just got to wonder how much more intense it's going to be. Thankfully, my understanding is the worst of it's over. And I simply pray for the rest of the folks in his path that, they won't have it too bad.
John, thanks for joining us. The worst of it is over. However, do be mindful. The winds are still gusting, so any of those trees that are loose could certainly fall here in Tallahassee. Alex, let's get back into you in the studio.
All right, thanks so much, Tevin. Well, we got plenty of information coming into us here at this hour as we continue to track this again. It was an extremely powerful hurricane making that landfall earlier today there on the Florida coast. But let's get you to what we know at this exact time here for you. 400,000 customers are without power in Florida, Georgia, as well as Alabama. In Florida alone, that number is close to 300,000. And right now, Bay County, Florida Fire and EMS says, well, they're not able to respond to emergency calls. Tonight, there's 2,500 Florida National Guard troops out on the streets, and the governor activated them to help with Michael's response. So, yeah, no doubt about it. Hurricane Michael, a big, major event. And again, something that we continue to track here at this time. And there's all sorts of problems being had right along the coast with those big-time winds. Of course, we had the heavy rain and the storm surge, a big, major issue out there for us as well. Buildings blown to the ground. This was taking place in Panama City Beach as winds over 150 miles an hour slammed the city. Power lines and trees were thrown through the air. Panama City actually suffered wind damage there, a lot of widespread damage there. And another view from Panama City Beach shot from one of our storm trackers. That's a home. The roof blown off in the intense winds. Pretty amazing. Well, our live coverage of Hurricane Michael, that continues all night long. Crews across the Panhandle and into Georgia to bring the very latest.
Bringing my Giovanni Rana pasta to everyone in America wasn't so easy. So I made it easy for America to find me. In the refrigerated section, Giovanni Rana pasta. Share what's inside.
Today's Best Western rewards you in a flash. Get a free night fast with points that never expire at over 4,200 hotels worldwide. And get double rewards points on every stay. Book now at bestwestern.com.
So-so pizza? Not in this house, because that's no so-so family. That's your family, which is why you didn't grab just any cheese. You picked up new Kraft expertly paired mozzarella and Parmesan for pizza. Ah, yeah. Kraft. Family greatly.
When you carry out large 3-topping pizzas from Domino's for $7.99 each, you don't want bad roads ruining your good pizza. So we're doing something about them. If your drive home is rough on pizza, submit it at havingforpizza.com and we might fix it.
So Darren, you're with the UPS store?
Yeah, we actually printed these invites.
Wow, I thought you guys just did shipping.
No, we do printing, packing, shredding, notarizing, mailboxing, faxing, binding, taping, laminating, copying, consulting, grading, designing, returning, and of course shipping.
Cool.
Nice costume.
It's my work uniform. Where are you going?
Go to the UPS store for everything your small business needs. And of course, shipping.
Does this map show the Peninsula Trail?
You won't find that on a map. I'll take you there. Take this left. If you listen real hard, you can hear the whales. Hear that?
Our Subaru Outback lets us see the world. Sometimes in ways we never imagined.
Dear foremothers, your society was led by a woman who governed thousands, commanded armies, yielded to no one. When I found you in my DNA, I learned where my strength comes from. My name is Courtney McKinney, and this is my Ancestry DNA story.
Now with 2 times more geographic detail.
Discover a better night's sleep on a Tempur-Pedic, free gifts and more during Mattress One's Columbus Day sale. Mattress One is Florida's largest Tempur-Pedic retailer. See our full line of Tempur-Pedics in stock with Tempur-Pedic mattresses from as low as $33 a month, all in stock and ready for immediate delivery. Plus, enjoy free gifts with purchase and 0% APR for 5 years with equal payments during Mattress One's Columbus Day sale. Visit mattressone.com to find a store near you.
The right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. You have the right to have an attorney.
Ma'am, he'll be read his rights and taken to the station.
What about my rights?
In Florida, those accused of a crime are read their constitutional rights. But what about victims? No criminal should have stronger rights than their victim. It's time for equal rights. It's time for Amendment 6.
Every season, every storm, every time you watch, trust in the Weather Channel.
Currently in our area, 82 degrees under partly cloudy skies. Tonight, some clouds, low 78. Winds south at 10 to 15 miles per hour. Thursday, thunderstorms developing in the afternoon. High 90. Chance of rain 80%. Thursday night, late night thunderstorms. Low 76. Chance of rain 40%. Here's our 7-day outlook.
Do not get out on the roads until you're told it is safe. We need the roads to be open for first responders and search and rescue to do their jobs and save lives. If it is not safe to leave your house, don't leave it. If you and your family made it through this storm safely, the worst thing you can do now is to act foolishly and put yourself and your family in danger or keep law enforcement and rescue workers from saving lives.
Meteorologist Mark Elliott here in Cordele, Georgia, and really Michael is just blasting on in as we speak. We've been watching the wind gusts steadily increase, still mostly out of the east, although at times we're starting to see a little bit of a turn out of the south at this point as our storm continues to increase. Power, a big problem across the area already, and the worst of the winds aren't even here yet. As I've stood out here for the past, let's say, hour and a half or so, I've seen power arc after power arc, bright blue light after bright blue light filling the sky as debris has, crashed into those power lines. Tree damage, a bit of a problem as well. In fact, some of the trees off in the distance, I know it's hard for you guys to see them, but there are some limbs breaking even there, so that continues to be a problem as well. What we don't have in central Georgia is the coast marching its way in. We don't have the storm surge like what they had down in Cedar Key. Cedar Key earlier today, well away from the center of the storm, but still with enough of that onshore push that the water was marching its way through and caused some problems. And that could be a factor even through the history of this storm and the future of this storm, I should say, all the way to the Outer Banks. With an onshore flow there, we may have some storm surge issues also. Now, maybe nothing, hopefully nothing like what they had along the Gulf Coast earlier today. Want to bring in Chris Bruin, who is in Panama City Beach. Chris, what was it like watching the Gulf just churn up and start marching its way up the coastline?
It was, just something you can't even really imagine. A lot of people come to the Gulf Coast and they love the tranquil emerald-colored water. It was nothing like that. The water was churned up. It was nasty. I mean, we're talking 30-foot waves at times. The piers here in Panama City Beach were topped by some of the waves. Now, we had offshore winds for the most of the event. That helped us out a lot, especially when it came to the storm surge. We didn't really have any beach flooding, except for the fact the water made it up to the dune line, and that was about it. So thankfully, the beach areas fared much better than areas a little bit further inland where there's a lot more tree damage. It is significant when you go inland and you see the pine trees that are just snapped. I mean, I would say about 1/3 of the pines here in a lot of the areas that we have just gotten a chance to see have just completely fallen over. I want to get you a perspective on this. I want to show you what this looks like. This is leaking water because there's a main break over here. There's just a gnarled mess. This is a marina. Look at how tall this is. It's hard to get your perspective when I'm standing closer to the camera, but look at this. I mean, this thing rises a good 30, 40 feet, maybe even taller. Oops, there goes my hat. And it's still breezy, folks, but the winds certainly have died down. But you can see there's a whole bunch of boats. I mean, I would say there's about 100 boats in there that they store. And they probably stored them in here thinking they were better off to be in here than, of course, out in the water. The water's just off to my right. But, it's a total loss, because how are they even going to remove these boats safely? They're not going to be able to. They're going to have to knock all of this down. You can even almost smell, it almost smells like gasoline, to be honest. I think there's probably some gas leaking in there, water main breaks. I mean, it's almost like a war zone, folks, across Panama City Beach. This is one of just thousands of damaged properties here across the city. In fact, take a look at what it looks like at one of the mobile home parks in Panama City Beach. And again, this is a scene after scene. You can kind of get an idea. There's no need to come back. Now, while the weather, yes, is going to be relatively nice tomorrow, you're going to be dealing with power lines over the roads, down lines, trees all over the place, no water, mandatory boil water notice here for all of Bay County. So hopefully you have enough water for you and your family if you are going to return soon. No power. There's no cell service. I'm without cell service. And again, the majority of the city is completely dark. I mean, it's weird to look out the sky. I mean, you can see the stars. We have our lights here at our set, but as far as everywhere else goes, it's complete darkness here across the city. And that's why it's so dangerous. Also, mandatory curfew went into effect this evening here for Panama City Beach until 8 a.m. tomorrow morning. They do not want anybody out. They said if you are going to be out, be ready to be arrested. That's the seriousness. They are trying to protect property. They're trying to protect people's lives, and they don't want anyone out. We drove on some of the roads, and there are just power lines you can't even see. And with the sun down now, it is a very dangerous sight. You have leaked gas lines, propane leaks, water leaks. I mean, it is just a chaotic mess here, Alex Wallace, and it's going to be a long road to recovery.
Wow, Chris, thanks so much. We'll be certainly checking back with you. Of course, Michael making that landfall earlier today near Mexico Beach, Florida, as a Category 4 hurricane. This is what it was like there to be in the eye wall. Take a listen.
Oh, my God. Oh, there's other... Oh, hey. There's the rest of the building. Oh, there's a lot of the rest of the building.
Yeah, that eye wall can just no doubt be one of those dangerous parts of a hurricane. You do not want to find yourself caught in that situation there. So let's get to the very latest on what's happening with Michael. Still a hurricane at this time. 85-mile-per-hour winds as it's churning its way now through south portions of Georgia to the northeast at a good clip, 17 miles per hour. It's motion. And you'll notice here as we head through time, clipping its way and moving its way through the Carolinas as we work our way through our Thursday. More coverage of Michael next.
Our craftsmen begin each day perfectly seasoning our Hillshire Farm smoked sausage. So by simply adding the right ingredients, you can end each day crafting a perfectly delicious dinner.
I don't keep track of regrets. I never count the wrinkles. And I don't add up the years. But what I do count on is staying happy and healthy. So I add protein, vitamins, and minerals to my diet with Boost.
New Boost High Protein Nutritional Drink now has 33% more high-quality protein, along with 26 essential vitamins and minerals your body needs, all with guaranteed great taste.
The upside? I'm just getting started.
Boost High Protein. Be up for life.
If your mouth is made to amaze, let Philips Sonicare give its care a raise. If your teeth chew beyond their limit, then they've earned 62,000 movements a minute. If your mouth's used to a manual clean, treat it to microbubbles that feel great in between. If your amazing mouth does more than its share, give it Philips Sonicare. Next level clean, next level care. There's always a way to make life better. Philips Sonicare.
Dun, dun, dun. Come make a whisk and make them bounce. Pride on your lips, come make that sound. Drop it, drop it, drop it, drop it, drop it, drop it, drop it. You gotta work it, work it, work it, work it, work it.
Ready to Juvederm it? Correct age-related volume loss in cheeks with Juvederm Voluma XC. Add fullness to lips with Juvederm Ultra XC. And smooth moderate to severe lines around the nose and mouth with Juvederm XC. Tell your doctor if you have a history of scarring or are taking medicines that decrease the body's immune response or that can prolong bleeding. Common side effects include injection site redness, swelling, pain, tenderness, firmness, lumps, bumps, bruising, discoloration, or itching. As with all fillers, there is a rare risk of unintentional injection into a blood vessel, which can cause vision abnormalities, blindness, stroke, temporary scabs, or scarring. Juvederm it. Talk to your doctor about the Juvederm collection of fillers.
You never forget your first race. And you never back down from the next. You're the brotherhood of muscle.
Are we there yet?
You don't always use your smartphone for directions.
Okay, guys, out there.
Or to laugh out loud.
You're in the middle. Yeah.
But when it matters most, you count on TracFone to keep you connected for less. Our smartphone plan gives you talk, text, and data with unlimited carryover starting at $15 a month. No contract. All with nationwide 4G LTE coverage. Get top smartphones or bring your own phone. TracFone for moments that matter.
Insurance that won't replace the full value of your new car? You're better off throwing your money right into the harbor. Gonna regret that.
With Liberty Mutual new car replacement, we'll replace the full value of your car.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Never-ending Pasta Bowl is back at Olive Garden, starting at $10.99. Come in for over 100 combinations of pastas, sauces, and toppings, with everyone's favorite chicken Alfredo, plus unlimited salad and breadsticks. Only for a limited time at Olive Garden.
A Category 4 making landfall.
These winds are just crushing right now. Buildings are now being overtaken by water.
We're going downhill quick.
Really amazing that we've gotten something this strong.
It is pretty incredible that we had such a strong storm, Category 4, historic storm coming into the Gulf Coast, an area that has never experienced a storm quite like that in its history. And now, what's left of the storm is still a formidable beast coming through Cordele, Georgia right now, which is where I am. I'm meteorologist Mark Elliott. We still have an 85-mile-per-hour hurricane on its way towards that I-75 corridor of Georgia, coming right towards Cordele. You look towards the Albany area, there was 70-mile-per-hour gusts. That's the kind of potential that is going to be moving its way and marching its way further towards the north, further towards the east. Sure, we're going to lose some of its steam. We may even wind up at tropical storm strength as we go through the overnight hours, but there are still real impacts even with the tropical storm. We're talking about a continued power threat as we go through the overnight hours. We're talking about continued onshore flow well out ahead of the system, including the Outer Banks, which means a storm surge threat even from a tropical system. That is a potential as well. And as you can see, the winds are still really whipping in here. We've had intense power problems, over 8,000 customers without power in this very area, and that number will likely increase because I've continued to see power flashes and arcing off in the distance, maybe even some transformer issues. I will say the winds are starting to swirl a little bit. We're getting closer to that center, so it was a due east wind just pouring my left to my right for hour upon hour, but now we're starting to see some more interaction with the building as that wind is coming out of the south, more of a southerly direction. So that potential is there as well. So there are real risks that continue through the overnight hours. We're talking about widespread tree damage. We're talking about widespread power line issues. Treat every power line as if it is live, because it still could be, right? They're not going to be able to turn off each one as it happens. And plus, just so much debris on the roads from the trees in particular. Let's go back to the coast. I want to check in with what Jim Cantori went through earlier today, and you can kind of experience the storm from earlier through his eyes. Check it out.
At last report, about 145,000 customers without power. That number's probably gone up exponentially, especially with this eye wall coming ashore. Every once in a while, we'll get a little lull in the wind. You can stand back up, but we're also getting some pretty strong gusts, too, around the other side of this hotel. This is a dangerous hurricane. Dangerous hurricane. We'll continue to cover it for you. Guys, stick around. Much more to come on Michael. This storm has a lot of wind energy. Tallahassee, Valdosta, Albany, Savannah. This is coming your way.
Yeah, it is coming our way, Jim. And, you know, it takes a lot to take the wind out of Jim Cantori with that endless energy. But it's hard to take a breath in when the winds are whipping by so fast. You can get tired out here covering a storm, and Jim was out there all day long. Hats off to that guy, of course. Now, 131,000 customers in Georgia alone without power right now. I mentioned a little over 8,000 customers in this area.